This video is designed to be a look at the Dolphins offense, two particular elements of it that Ravens fans should recognize quite immediately. I may put out a second one if people are interested. This is going to be a premiere hopefully early Sunday morning for the people who like to get up early and watch football. Preview shows, and maybe there's not enough coverage of the Ravens home game against the Dolphins. We're going to talk about the Dolphins' use of RPOs, and I think it's a very smart, well-designed RPO game. And when I say smart, I mean it's smart to give this to Tua because I think he's good at reading it. I think he's got experience with this type of offense, with those schemes, those concepts, and he seems to be very good at reading it. RPO is a run-pass option, so either handing the ball off to the back or having a mesh with the running back, pulling the ball out, and then throwing it to a receiver, typically on a slant or sometimes a shoot route or a snag concept. Not as strong of an arm. That's the theory about Tua. I don't know that for sure. I know that some of the throws in Week 1 against New England, generally it seems like the deeper throws that he makes are to the left side or maybe the middle left side of the field. I'm not sure that I've seen a deeper throw down to the right. As I say that, I'm sure that somebody will find one or be aware of one. Even film from 2021, I noticed a tendency whereby he was throwing deeper routes to the left-hand side of the field. Small sample size against the Patriots, but I think that holds true. There will be maybe one wheel route to the right-hand side that I show you in this video, I suspect. I think I put that in here. Obviously, they got, two huge matchup problems with Tyreek Hill and Waddle. And they're gonna present problems for us no matter who's healthy at corner. But the scheme, if you ask me, really is trying to make use of Tua's skills while hiding some of the deficiencies. And that's not me being insulting. The arm strength is an issue, number one. Number two, even though I admit that the sample size is small, I think you have a situation where he's not throwing the ball as well to the right-hand side of the field, and I'm not sure why that is. Mechanics-wise, maybe there's an issue. And I think the establishment of the run game is designed to make the offense run smoothly, no matter the arm strength of the quarterback, no matter some of the limitations. If you look at Mike McDaniel's offense with the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo, people have different opinions about him. Bottom line is they were able to figure out a way to win with Jimmy Garoppolo, who, at this point is not recognized as someone that's one of the most talented or efficient and reliable quarterbacks in the NFL. Let's get to some of the film. It's going to be RPOs here first. One of the things about the RPOs the Dolphins run a lot of is they're somewhat reminiscent of some things that the Ravens used to run in like 2019. And here's what I mean by this. You're going to get motion right to left for the offense, and it's Tyreek Hill. So he's going to garner a lot of attention. That's number one. Number two, after he goes through and the ball is snapped, the tight end who's on this side is also going to go to this side. He will typically be reading this stand-up D-end or outside linebacker the same way that the quarterback does on the RPO. So his reaction will be different depending on what he sees that edge defender do. And you can see right here his helmet is clearly looking right at that guy. Sometimes he being the tight end in motion will slide underneath and go out in the flats. Sometimes he'll fold underneath and go to block someone. That's typically like a Ravens concept, what you would expect out of a Ravens H-back or tight end when we're running the pistol option. But in any case, just letting you guys see, what the elements of the offense are. Obviously, in that case, the tight end ran out into the flats to offer himself up as a pass option. Same thing here, RPO with a little wheel to the boundary. And the backside H-back or tight end, I think it actually might be the fullback, number 30. He's going to slide out here late as a release valve option. But the primary part of this RPO is Tyreek Hill on the slant, and then this tight end or H-back, running what looks like a wheel down here. Running back crossing Tua's face, presumably some type of mesh. It looks like Tua kind of looks off the defense here as if he knows where he's going with the football. Very disciplined, very good body control. If you ask me, Tua is a great student and does things exactly the way he's asked to do them. I'm not trying to describe him as a system quarterback, but I think he does a great job of fitting within whatever system he's asked to execute. This one is obviously kind of a jump ball to Tyreek Hill, but you can see the same elements of the RPO. So as a Ravens fan, when you see a compressed formation during the game on Sunday, compressed meaning, look at this, the number one receiver to the left. His left foot is inside the top of the numbers. These guys over here, I mean, Tyreek Hill is within like 4 yards of the hash, and the NFL hashes are close together. So that's what I mean by compressed. Everyone fits within this box that's quite, thin in terms of right to left. Typically, you're going to have some receiver lined up down here outside the bottom of the numbers, someone lined up between the top of the numbers and the hash. Your more typical splits or alignments. So compressed formation is what they're generally using to run their RPOs out of. Again, you can see the tight end, Gesicki, is looking directly at the edge defender. Now, in this case, Tua's face mask, if I'm seeing this correctly, he looks like he's reading a linebacker here. He does not look like he's reading the edge defender like Gesicki is. One of these, and from the end zone angle, you don't get to see his face mask, so it's not incredibly helpful to see that. But here you go. So it's one of those situations where it looks like the quarterback and the guy in motion are possibly reading two different things. Lofted ball, obviously there's not a whole lot of arm strength on that. And Tua has a much better arm than that. For whatever reason, he chose to loft it up there to Tyreek Hill, who made an amazing catch. Clearly, he trusts Tyreek Hill. All right, another compressed formation. Number one receiver, Hill down here, I believe, is at the top of the numbers. Look at the number one receiver down here. Another 3 or 4 yards outside the right hash. So these RPOs, even though this isn't technically an RPO, it looks like one. This is a backwards pass. So I think this goes down as a run. Takes advantage of the Patriots playing man and running with the man in motion. So you'll see as the receiver goes in this return motion back the other way, this DB is going to run with him and then try to take an angle and miss the tackle somewhere down there by the bottom of the numbers. So man-to-man defense, one of the ways I think that Mike McDaniel will try to attack teams, and also putting that compressed formation keeps the corner to the attack side occupied in terms of the tight split. He's got to read the receiver sometimes, in some cases a little bit longer. One thing I have seen 3 times was fumbles. A tight end fumbled against the Patriots over the middle, but I believe he was ruled down by contact. You had that fumble there on the sideline, and then Tyreek Hill fumbled on a deep pass that I think I will show you later in this video. If not, I'll do a part 2 of it. So that's interesting to me. When you have 3 fumbles in one game, even if one of them's not ruled a fumble, it is interesting to me as to why that happens. Tua's face mask is kind of looking horizontal here. He's not capable of looking through the running back, but it's interesting to me that his face mask is looking so canted away from the mesh point with the running back. I'll slow it down so you guys can see it. Unless I'm seeing it wrong, it looks like he's looking, out here to the left, almost like the defense is aware of that pass play that I showed you, to the return motion, which was the exact previous play in the game, by the way. This is the very next play. And he's trying to sell as if he's going back to that again. New England brings a blitzing inside linebacker, kind of blows the play up. RPOs, compressed formations. This one's slightly more width. You have the number one receiver at the bottom of the numbers. Number one receiver here is, 5 to 6 yards outside the hash. So a little bit wider. I'm not sure that I would necessarily say this is exactly an RPO. There's one of the aforementioned fumbles that I was talking about. Looks like maybe the ground caused the fumble as well. It's if it is an RPO, we would call it a backwards RPO because you're getting a slant, and then the back is from the other side crossing the quarterback's face. So the slant and the slant was actually by the number 2 receiver there. The slant and the back are not occurring from the same side. Let me draw that back up so it's accurate. The slant's actually inside tight end here. But in any case, you can see he's on the left-hand side of the offense, and this running back is on the right-hand side. That's where, in some cases, we will refer to this as a backwards RPO. Could possibly be reading the linebackers, but I don't think so. Not given the way the running back reacts after he doesn't get the ball. Running back appears to understand that he's not going to get the football. Running back's pretty talented. Edmonds. Smaller and quicker. Somebody in in my Saturday morning live stream referred to the Dolphins as like a track team. I would say this team more resembles the Chiefs than the 49ers offenses that McDaniel coordinated for real. That's just what my eyes see. So now let's go under center and mostly play action stuff. They do run the ball under center a lot. The play action is meant to complement that, obviously. I'm going to pull this back a little bit. That fullback almost catches that football, by the way. This is the fullback number 30. Pull this back here, you'll see it's 22 personnel. Again, compressed formation. Look at this. Left tight end is at the inside of the left hash. Number one receiver, top of the numbers. This is going to be the fullback stepping here, looking like he's going to ISO block, and then kind of pulling this up the right sideline like a wheel route. Sneaky play, designed to attack inside linebacker who's looking for run and maybe doesn't recognize that the fullback is slipping out there. So slick play, something for you to look for. Another compressed formation, under center. Number one receiver to the left is at the top of the numbers. Tight end is right at the hash. So your compressed formations is a consistent theme, if you ask me, when you're talking about the RPO and now the play action pass. This is Tyreek Hill out into the flats. Forgive me for that stuttering. This is Tyreek Hill out into the flats. And the interesting thing with this is very similar to the first play of the season the Ravens ran. Quarterback is going to come here and then boot back. Tyreek Hill is on the line of scrimmage. So he's got to bring this back a little bit to work his way across the formation. Kind of tricky. Evolution of the hide concept. This would be, I guess you'd say, X hide, meaning the X receiver running behind the offensive line. You'll see him left to right on the screen. There's the mesh or play fake with the quarterback and the running back. And then here is Tyreek Hill. And the thing that's really dangerous about this is he's the fastest player in the game. So him getting out here into the flats against man is happening a lot faster. And I personally think this guy, number 31, Jones, played this incredibly well to hold him to like a 6 or 7 yard gain. All right, 12 personnel, play action, throwback. It looks like they're setting up a throwback to Gesicki, and there's a lot of pressure on Tua. So Gesicki's the guy in motion. He's going to settle in the flats. The other H-back is going to go back the other way. So you've got this cross action or split flow. Play action to the tailback. Immediate pressure. Really poor job by the left tackle on this play. And the tight end who was on the right, who goes to the left, he ends up trying to block an edge defender unsuccessfully as well. So check out the left tackle, who I believe it looks like is going to play, but has apparently been dealing with a lot of injuries. Really poor job by him on this D tackle. The edge defender for the Patriots doesn't do a great job of taking an angle either. But watch how they protect it. So Gesicki is the guy going in motion to the right. You get the play fake with the running back. This tight end on the right-hand side is going to go all the way back across to go get this D end. Now, you may say, well, that's not a good scheme. Well, the other complement to that is him running across and then running out into the flats. So if our defender, if our D end just runs upfield, theoretically Tua would just be able to flip the ball out to that guy in the flats. So tricky stuff. I think that McDaniel understands they're not just going to overwhelm people with physical talent and brutality. Not saying their run game isn't going to be a good one at all. I just don't think that he thinks they're going to be able to overpower people. Now, I could eat those words. I mean, it might be entirely possible that they come in and they run the ball right at the Ravens. But just from what I'm seeing and what I'm perceiving based on my experience, I think I see a coach who, A, has a great plan. B, is very structured. If you do this defensively, we will do this to confront that and try to exploit it. Having said all that, I think the Ravens have a sound defensive structure as well. I think we're in for a chess match. Am I saying that it's going to be, a 17-13 game? No, but I think we have the potential defensively to give this team problems. I do. I think we have the potential defensively to get stops and even turn them over. Now, it's going to have a big impact whether or not their left tackle plays. As I understand it, the right guard is out for the season. I'm not sure about the status of the right tackle. So it sounds like their offensive line is dealing with some health issues, just like our defensive back group is. So all of those factors will impact the game. I kind of gave a prediction near the end of my live stream on Saturday morning. This was just two elements to the offense that I thought were noteworthy, and I thought maybe worth mentioning to you guys is their use of compressed formations. Think of it like an umbrella. Compressed formations is one of their biggest things that they use, if you ask me. And I think that appears to be a staple of what Mike McDaniel wants to do. That sets up a lot of crack schemes, sets up a lot the receivers going and blocking the front side safety, which is essentially forces corners to make tackles. He did that a lot with the 49ers last year and in previous seasons, particularly against the Rams. I did put out a preview of their toss stretch play, so I'll try to link that during the course of this video if you guys are interested in it. Quick preview of the Dolphins offense, with some discussion of the personnel. I like to talk about the scheme and the conflict they're trying to create. Mike McDaniel and Mike McDonald are getting ready to be in a chess match. And I trust our defensive staff, particularly, our DB coaches, our D-line coach, Weaver. Really, really excited about Zach Orr's, coaching level, his expertise, his experience, particularly compared to what we had last year at inside linebacker coach. So I look for a good game by our defense. Are they going to get some plays off? And yes, they are. Tyreek Hill is dangerous. He can bust one at any moment. So we'll probably be in some soft coverages. We'll probably be playing some underneath coverage on him as well to try to force the quarterback to throw the ball downfield where our off coverage is able to keep up with Tyreek Hill. So they may use some sail concepts, some flood concepts with Hill running the clear out stuff to try to open up areas underneath of those vertical routes and threaten us. And then it will become interesting how our safeties and our second level players, inside linebackers or a nickel roll down, if we are playing zone, how those guys are able to recognize those concepts and get underneath of or in the window of those pass routes, forcing Tua to get to his second or third read. Because in my opinion, if we get him off of his primary read, we have a great chance to slow them down, if not stop them completely. Our pass rush should have a really solid day, if you ask me. I think our guys on the interior especially, and Justin Houston, if he can play the way he did last week against the Jets, and Owe can actually return to looking like himself. I personally think it was a cleats issue in New York, and I don't think that issue will show up in Baltimore on Sunday. But if it does, then we've got an issue. But I think Owe, Houston, and our interior rush is going to show up tomorrow. And if our pass coverage can hold up just enough, I think we'll be able to get pressure on Tua and have a great chance to win the game. You guys let me know what you thought of my previews overall. I didn't go too in-depth with this one, but I just tried to cover two concepts, the RPO concept and then the under center play action game. Some things for you to look for and hopefully make your appreciation and enjoyment of the game increase as you watch it live on Sunday.